Yeah, that we'll do yeah, Spain on Tuesday, and because we've already done EPL. There's no sense in really doing a France preview, right? So I'll discuss it um, sort of quickly and stuff like that at the top of the show. Yeah. Her
Tuesdays is
reels.
known as
Yes, it
$2
has.
Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and
Whee!
SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
Morning, guys. It is Thursday and another edition of Stoppage Time. Finally, European soccer returns. The first of the five big leagues kick off on Friday with a game, League One, and then from there, well, next week we're going to feature some of the other leagues. Obviously, Spain uh, uh, with La Liga, Italy Serie A, Bundesliga. They're all around the corner, and of course, next weekend EPL. How can we forget the best league in Europe? With me to discuss three games today and a new feature on the show, which will be sort of a Capper's Corner featured Capper of the week. I'll have that after the second game, but to discuss these three games from Sports Memo, Pavlos Laguretos, and from WagerTalk.com, it's Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. I'm going to bring in Kev first. Kev, you're looking pretty good there. I love that colorful hat of yours. You got to be looking forward to European soccer finally returning.
Yeah, I got the old Irish combo under there, Carmine. Thought I'd snazz it up a bit. But, oh, yeah, definitely looking forward to European soccer. You know, we've had a nice little run now, 13-6-2 in soccer best bets over the last month, plus 77% as well in all soccer best bets since February. But come off a disappointing 2-3 night in MLS last night. So definitely let's get back to Europe and talking about some of these French League One games today.
Yeah, and that we will. Nick Borman, I'll bring you in next. How are things going? How was MLS for you yesterday?
Things are going good. I had a 5% winner on DC United getting half a goal. They won 4-2, so stayed perfect on the year. 4-0, 5% plays. 2-2 overall though, but still had a little profit. Was on the wrong side of two red cards last night. So ready to move on to little League One this weekend and more MLS, of course, which has been rolling very well. But excited in general for the European season.
Yeah, it was a red card day yesterday or last night in MLS. Six red cards across the 12 games, seven of those games finishing in draws. So quite a bit of action other than I think three scoreless draws there. Pavlos Laguretos, how you doing, my friend?
I got a little burned in the MLS yesterday. I had the both teams scoring over in the Chicago versus New York City. I never expected a goalless draw there, but I'm doing very well in the European qualifiers. I'm 4-0 in the last couple of days. And I have a two-pack for today's action in the Europa League qualifiers. So I'm looking to continue that and super excited about France kicking off this weekend.
Yeah, it's a bunch of games obviously going out, but the ones that we are going to discuss are the Monaco Nantes game, Lyon Brest, and uh, the PSG Troyes game, if I pronounce that correctly. You know, you look at the odds, and Kev, I'm going to go to you before we even get to the first game, and you look at sort of the outright futures to win here, and this league. You can just see the disparity in this league. Every other league is sort of competitive on the top of who is going to win the league, but you've got PSG at minus 500 here. Next up is Lyon at plus 800. Then you have Lille at 14-1, and then Monaco at 16-1. I'll be honest with you, with the not having one last year and the changes they've made and added so some more talent to that lineup that they have at PSG at minus 500. If you had a huge bankroll, you could just literally make 20% on your money here, because I think we may not have to wait till the end of the season before they clinch this League One title. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to argue. I'll talk about it a bit later when we get to that game, just in terms of who they've added. But if you're looking for an outside play, someone with a chance, basically, I think you could do a lot worse than take Monaco, because I see them. If there's going to be a challenger this year, it's going to be them. I expect some regression from Lille. Obviously, they've changed their manager and so on. And I do think Monaco will be PSG's main title challengers, and it's 16-1. I think there's some value there. In fairness, they haven't upgraded a whole ton. In fairness, from last season, they've still got a core team of young players. They did bring in that Myron Boade from AZ Alkmaar in the off-season to shore up that attack. But the way they finished off last season, Monaco, top in defensive expected goals against from February 1st onwards, top in expected points. If they can come out with that type of momentum going into the start of this season as well, it really bodes well for them, to me, for them to be serious contenders in this division by season's end.
Yeah, and they look pretty good in Champions League qualifying, beating Sparta Prague 2-0. Obviously, the qualifying is still going on there, and they finished third last season, so they could make a run. It's a lot tough, and you talked about, as far as like Lille goes, their manager leaving. He'll get to face his old team next week as Lille face Nice, and that's where the manager sort of ended up at. But Nick, any thoughts on any of these futures before we get into these 3 games?
I would just echo Monaco, I think, has the best chance. Lyon, Depay's gone, their best offensive attack. And Monaco really retains all their players from last year who had a great attack, and I think they'll only get better. Ben Yedder and Volland up front are just really, really good and can score a lot of goals. And I think they're the best bet outside of PSG, but I think it's a foregone conclusion that PSG probably will walk away with this thing.
Yeah, and Pavlos, I'm going to give you final word on this. They're talking about Lyon, and Lyon are the second choices at 8-1 plus 800. But the thing is, finishing fourth last season puts them into Europa League, and sometimes you see a team, we've seen it across other leagues, in Italy as well too, the team that finishes outside of those Champions League spots sometimes will reserve their players during the league, actually will play their players during the league play, as opposed to in that Europa League competition where they'll rest some players with an eye on finishing in one of those top 3 spots, challenging for the league title and trying to get back into Champions League next season. So obviously losing Depay hurts this team, but I still think Lyon make a top 3 run this season.
Yeah, unless they bring in someone to fill up, the gap up front that Memphis Depay left, I don't think they should be the second favorites to win the title. Kevin mentioned Monaco, which I love, to do a great run this season. If you can bet on there is a bet on Bet365, a winner without PSG, and Monaco is a plus 400, and that's a very good value. There's a lot of value there. I don't think Lyon will do a good job this season. Lille, yes, maybe offensively they're good, but defensively they lost a couple of players. Marseille also did a lot of changes, and they now have coach Sampaoli from the preseason, which is also a team to watch. But yeah, I think Monaco are going to be second this season.
All right, we will see. Our producer will clip these ones, and we'll see these predictions later on in the season. Of course, we'll revisit them, whether it looks bad on me or not, or on one of you guys. This is why we do the show, to go at each other. All right, speaking of Monaco, let's get right to the first game, guys. Monaco Nantes. Monaco minus 225. The draw plus 333. Nantes is plus 600, and the total here is 2.75. Pavlos, I'm going to go right back to you on this one. Obviously, Monaco finished third last season. They'll be they're in the Champions League qualifying right now, but off to a good start to make it into the final round before the draw later this month. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, they did a great job in that Champions League match, and they also did a great job in the preseason. They played 5 friendlies, they won 3, lost just once, and another one was a draw. While Nantes, they were terrible in the preseason friendlies. They won 2 and lost 6. They didn't bring anyone of, they didn't make any important changes in their lineup. And to be honest, they finished at the 18th spot last season, and they had to play a relegation playoff match where they won on the road and they lost on the road. They lost at home, but they did remain in the league due to away goals. I don't really trust Nantes this season. Last season, Monaco, they beat them twice with both matches were 2-1 wins in favor of Monaco. Monaco, they've been traditionally good against Nantes over the last 6 seasons. They won all 6 of their last, each of their last 6 matches as hosts. So, I think Monaco are going to be one of the stars of the League One this season, and I think that they make a very good start against a rather weak side here. So the way I look at this is either take Monaco with -1 in the Asian handicap at -125, or you can take the game parlay of Monaco to win and over 1.5 goal at -135. That also covers, a possible 2-1 win, where if you pick the -1, it's going to be a push. So I'm split between Monaco -1 and Monaco to win and over 1.5 goal here.
All right, I like it, Nick. I'm going to go to you next on this one. Listen, it's opening week, obviously, and you always want to get off to a good start. But you look at a team like Monaco, and they still have an important game next week. You want to get off to a good start. It's an important game. I'm not sure they're resting players in week 1 of League One, but we've seen it during the season in a lot of the leagues during the Champions League season on the weekend. A lot of players do get rested. I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but it comes into question here, Monaco, if this line goes to, it's at, I think it's at -1 right now. If it gets to like -1.25, -1.5, do you then look to the visitors getting the goal and a half?
It's actually, I noticed it a couple days ago. It actually was at -1.25 because I played Monaco on Tuesday in the Champions League, and I looked at it at that point. So it's actually come down from that. Maybe it is because leg 2 is next week, but they do have a 2-0 lead there, so I think they'll feel rather safe. So I'm not putting too much stock into that, but I do like. I just echo a lot of what Pavlos said. I think Monaco -1 is the play here. I'll be honest and say I don't see a ton of value in the line. I think it's set probably where it needs to be, but I see Monaco winning this game, and maybe we end up pushing it on the -1 line. But I just don't see Nantes drawing or winning here. Preseason action, Monaco looks good, and they. In their games, they had solid competition. I mean, they played against Salzburg, Wolfsburg, Sociedad, and while Nantes, who won just 2 of their 6 preseason games, with 4 losses, all to French sides, including several of them to League 2 teams, and they're held scoreless in 3 of those games. So, I'm looking at a lot of these first couple games of the season, especially week 1, is what did teams do to prepare for the season? How'd they get ready? Monaco definitely played a tougher schedule, looked to have a little bit better competition. They already got the game, and I mentioned with the Champions League, so they got a little bit of legs under them. Nantes, I don't know. I don't give any credit to what they did preseason-wise. They didn't look good. They didn't play anybody. I don't know if they just did put too much stock or too much effort into it. And maybe that's okay, but that's all I have to go off of for right now. Last year, Monaco, clearly the better team. We already talked about that. They're strikers. They're guys that can score. Ben Yedder, Kevin Volland, both netted. Yedder was 22 goals in all competitions. Volland 19 goals. They have a lot of talent on the attacking front, and I think they could easily put away 3 in this game. And at that point, I don't see Nantes getting more than maybe a goal. So that -1 line looks pretty safe. So I'd go Monaco on this one without too much hesitation.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you, Kev. I'm going to give you the last word on this. Is especially in the first couple of weeks, all we have really is historical data to rely on, and maybe they're friendlies, and friendlies are just that, friendlies. There's so many substitutions. Teams are playing their players maybe 45 minutes either in the first or second half is when their starters will feature. And then you look at a team like Monaco, who have actually played a meaningful game at that Champions League 1. So it has to carry some weight. Thoughts?
Well, not a whole pile to add, to be honest. I mean, Pavlos and Nick covered it. Obviously, I'm in no rush to start laying minus 225 on season opening day with a team. Although, look, I'm in firm agreement. For me, Monaco are the second best team in this league for all the reasons I outlined previously. So I too would take them on the minus, one handicap line. But, it's just a personal thing. First game of the season, always more of a watch and brief for me. And, but yeah, if I was playing it, definitely minus one.
All right. There you have it. Monaco and Nantes, they will kick off the Ligue 1 season. Let's look at another one, and we're going to go to another big team in Ligue 1, Lyon and Brest. The line here is Lyon minus 300. The draw is plus 400. Brest plus 750. And the total is a very high 3.5 on this one. I talked about the fact at the top of the show, they are the second choices at 8-1 behind PSG, finished fourth last season, so they will be playing in Europa League this year. Kev, I'm going to go right back to you first on this one. I'm going to give you the first word on this one. Thoughts on this one? Again, another big favorite, but we're going to cover the featured teams and the teams we think will be at the battling at the top of the Ligue 1 standings this year. Thoughts on this Lyon side?
Well, I mean, again, you'd imagine this to be a fairly slam dunk type of affair for Lyon. I probably do expect that the way to pan out, but I'm just not sold on Lyon at all this season. Change of manager. I'm kind of lukewarm at best in the appointment of Peter Bosz coming over from Holland, to the head job. They've lost some midfielders. They lost some defenders too, as in the case of Anderson going to Crystal Palace. But, as we mentioned at the top of the show, obviously the most important cog in their wheel, Memphis Depay, has gone to Barcelona. So, it's just where does that production come from now for them this season? Depay averaged a quarter of all Lyon's goals last season. That jumps up to almost 40% if you start factoring in assists on top of that. So, I'm just not sure they can replace him so readily. And I think we may well end up seeing Lyon struggle this season, in all honesty, in the French League as a result. Obviously, though, they should have enough to get past a Brest team who avoided relegation by a cat's whisker last year. But, in fairness to Brest, that mammoth collapse mainly came at the end of the season. I believe they had one win in 10 games to finish off the season. So basically Brest are the Leicester City of the French League. And from August to Christmas, though, Brest were actually pretty decent, 11th in the table. They had just 8 defeats from 17. So you'd imagine them to set up pretty defensively here and look to try and grind out a result on the road against Lyon. Again, probably another game that'll end up being a watch and brief for me. But, if I am getting involved with money here, it'll likely be on the away side catching plus 1.5 goals.
All right. Nick Borrman, thoughts on Kevin's viewpoint of this game and one of your own?
Kevin's right. It's going to be hard to replace Depay's production. That's, they're asking now for, guys like Moussa Dembele, Cornet to step up and replace that. And listen, in the preseason here, we talk about what we have to look at right now. A lot of these preseason games, they were still scoring. In fact, they played 6 matches. They scored at least 2 goals in all of them. They also gave up, pardon my friends, a shit ton of goals as well, which has always been their problem. You can't really trust them on defense. So in this game, I think we're going to see goals. Over 3.5 is high. And I'm a little worried with Brest simply because they haven't done anything to get ready for the season in my mind, at least as far as friendlies go. I mean, they've played 6 games. I had to look up a couple of the teams who they played against because I didn't even know who the hell the team names were. I don't know what they were doing really to get ready for this season. And they didn't look good. They didn't score. I think they gave up at least 2 goals in all of them. Yet, I'm not excited about what they did to get ready for the season. But I think Lyon's going to come out here. I think they're going to, ramp up the production this season. I think they'll be okay without Depay. I don't think they're going to challenge for the title, but to get over Brest here shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I'm a little hesitant on 3.5, purely because I'm not sure about Brest, to be honest, even though I don't trust Lyon's defense. So there's a couple different ways you could play this. I think a very safe way is on the combo market. You could take Lyon to win and over 2.5 goals. So that way a 2-1 win will cash, or if it happens to be a 3-0 type of a win for Lyon, you still cash. That's around minus 145, so a little high. The other option is maybe just stick with the team total of Lyon over 2.5, standard -110 odds. Again, I'm just not 100% sure on Brest yet. So, but I do like Lyon to win. You just can't. I just don't yet feel comfortable laying a goal and a half because I also don't trust their defense. So, my favorite play: Lyon plus over 2.5 goals for this match.
All right, that's Nick Borrman. Nick, you telling me you don't know where Stade Briochin is? Very, very popular
I couldn't even
club.
say it. I'm like, what is that? I thought I played them in high school.
I understand. But I will say, and you look at it, and you make a very good point because, this is one of the things I looked at, when you look at Lyon is at least, and I'm not going to say battle tested, but they've played teams in preseason. I'm all for playing teams that have some quality in the lineup. They're not playing 90 minutes, but at least for 45 minutes out there, they're playing some teams that have quality in the lineup: Wolfsburg, Villarreal, Sporting, FC Porto. So that's a better test for the players than a lot of the teams that, as you mentioned, Brest have played. Pavlos, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, Lyon, they look terrible at the defense. We saw that in their friendlies. Brest are also terrible in the defense. We also saw that in the friendlies. Each of their 6 matches had goals from both sides and at least over 2.5 goals. Now, last season, the two teams played, of course, twice against each other. The match at Lyon was a 2-2 draw, but it was really lucky because Brest, they scored the first goal through a Lyon own goal. And then they scored a penalty kick at the 92nd minute to force a 2-2 draw. Otherwise, Lyon should have won that match. And the other match at Brest was a 2-3 Lyon win, where they scored 3 early goals and then they conceded twice at the end. But the thing with Brest is that last season they sucked on the road. I think they had the second fewest goals on the road. They scored just 18 goals. And they conceded the 4th most goals on the road with 33. So if this was last season, I'd definitely side with the over 3.5 goals here. Yes, Depay's departure leaves a huge gap up front, but they got Dembele, they have Awar, they have Cambi, and they have a lot of players who are not as good as Memphis Depay. But we saw in the friendlies that they have a tendency to score a lot. They scored 5 goals, 2 goals, 4 goals, and so on. So I'm a bit scared about the over 3.5 goals. This match looks like it will have goals on both sides, but that prop is just too low. If you like, you can take both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -120. Not a great price, but not terrible, And you can win this bet by 2-1 or 1-2 correct scoreline. But I'd like to see Lyon play first. I wouldn't back them here. I wouldn't back Brest either. I think there's going to be goals here, as dictated by the recent history between the two sides. Each of the last 4 matches between the two had goals from both sides and at least 4 goals each. So the way I look at this is either take the over 3.5 goals or take the both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. That's a combo at -120.
All right, I like it. If you're thinking about sometimes when I see a total as high as 3.5, if my thinking is we're going to see some goals in that game, I tend to take that first half over instead. You could get a couple by halftime, and that line is the over 1.5 is actually plus money in the first half. So if you get a couple early ones, or you get a couple in the first half, and then scoring dies down in that second half, and it stays under that total, you're still cashing plus money on your total. Guys, we have a new segment that we are going to run on Stoppage Time. It is called the Capper of the Week segment. And with it, the capper will come on. He will talk about a game, break it down himself. And then I will give out a coupon code for that capper if he has a 5% play or a big package up at WagerTalk or SportsMemo. We're going to kick it off for this weekend with Nick Borrman. So I'm going to bring in Nick as our featured capper on today's show. Nick is going to break down the MLS game between Toronto FC and New York City FC. The line in this game, Toronto is plus 282. The draw is plus 310. New York City is minus 110. I am actually going to this game. So I'm anxious to hear what Nick has to say. I am taking, along with obviously my wife, I am taking the Prez one of the owners of WagerTalk.com. So if he's not happy with Nick's assessment of this game, then I'm sure he's going to hear from it. But let's bring him in. Nick Borrman, tell us what's going on with this game as the featured capper.
Well, I'm honored to be the first featured capper of Stoppage Time, so thank you for that. I'm honored that you mentioned my big package I might have up on my page. So thanks for mentioning my big package as well. So the bad news here I have for you, Carm, is I'm fading your beloved Toronto FC. New York City last night, unable to get the win in Chicago, but they generated a ton of chances in that game. It was very frustrating to watch. They couldn't score, and of course they got that second half red card just after the 70th minute. So if that didn't happen, I truly believe they do find a winner in that game. New York City, easily one of the title contenders this year. They own the best expected goal differential in the league at plus 1.24 per game. They're generating 2.12 expected goals per game. That's the only team in the league averaging over 2, while only allowing 0.89, also the best in the league. And that's one of only 2 teams allowing less than 1 expected goal per game. Meanwhile, Toronto, dead last in the league right now, Carmen, expected goal differential, minus 0.64 per game. But I'm going to get to them in a second. In terms of pure volume, New York City averaged 16.6 shots per game and 6.6 on goal. Both are the most in the league, while allowing just 8 shots and 3.1 on target. Also both the best in the league defensively. So simply put, they're the best offensive and defensive team in the league right now through the first half of the season. Toronto, on the other hand, has been bad. Of course, they have a lot of excuses, right? They've gone through a manager change. They've had to deal with a ton of absences this year. Altidore was away from the team, with the dispute after being exiled from by Toronto's ex-manager. Plus, they've had several key players missing for nearly a month now from the Gold Cup. I think for Canada's national team. So you can make plenty of excuses for the team, but I just don't expect them all of a sudden to right the ship against New York City here. In their last 3 games, Toronto has gotten a win and 2 draws. So on the surface, okay. But if you look under the covers, those results don't match the play on the field. They've lost the expected goal battle in all 3 of those games, generating an average of just 0.99 expected goals while allowing a whopping 2.54 expected goals. How they got 5 points out of those 3 games with those kind of numbers is remarkable and unsustainable for sure. Toronto averages the least shots in the league right now at just 9.2 per game, while also allowing the most shots on target in the entire league at 5.9. So I can't spew any more numbers than what I just did. Everything's pointing to New York City, and at just minus 110 right now to win on the road. I like them here. I think the value is on the New York City side. So sorry, Carm, I'll be rooting against your boys this week.
Nick, I don't blame you. Listen, as a season ticket holder for this team, I follow them along, and everything you said pretty much nails where this team is. It's kind of smoke and mirrors the last 5 games, and I think it caught up to them last night in that loss. So I definitely agree with you, even though I don't want to. So good luck with that play. Guys, as the featured capper, Nick has a 5% play up this weekend. I am going to give you a coupon code to get 50% off that play. So this play normally goes for $35. You can get it for $17.50, 50% off by using coupon code STOP50. So head over to WagerTalk.com, click on Nick's capper page, select the play, enter the coupon code STOP50, and away you go. Nick has been killing it with these 5% plays in MLS. So let's pick up another win. All right, guys, we are going to head into the third and final game on today's show. Last year's second place team, we can't call them the winners as Lille took the crown last year. PSG and Troyes, the line here, Troyes, plus 1,000. The draw is plus 500. PSG minus 400. The total is 3 in this game. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Give me your thoughts on this one. All I have to say is, this is last year's League 2 champs coming up, and who do they face? Right into the frying pan against a PSG team that got, if they weren't a very good team, they got even better during the offseason. Look at the names that they've added. Sergio Ramos from Real Madrid, Hakimi, who makes his way over from Inter Milan, Wijnaldum from Liverpool. And of course, I will call it the biggest signing they got because, of course, he comes from the Euro champions. Gigi Donnarumma as their starting goalkeeper. I think that's a huge signing for them. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, you would almost feel sorry for poor Troyes here in a way. But I mean, like, you nailed it just about what PSG are bringing into this season. I think Pochettino's done a tremendous job at this club, in charge, despite what the final positions may say about the league last season. From February the 1st onwards, PSG were the best team in the league, most points accumulated, 12 wins from 16 games. So, as much praise as we give Thomas Tuchel on here for the job he's done at Chelsea, sometimes you need that fresh approach at teams. Pochettino was the right man at the right time for this club. Not only have they brought in those players you mentioned, they've managed to keep all of their star danger men, Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria, Draxler, Verratti, and so on. And, the names that you just mentioned there bringing into this squad, Donnarumma, arguably the best young goalkeeper in the world right now. Wijnaldum is a player from Liverpool who was arguably used at a position there. And I'd expect that to change here at PSG. Hakimi, fantastic signing from Inter. Pereira from Porto as well. They've added that Sergio Ramos, that leadership quality. And there's even talk, there's rumours going now before the end of the trade transfer window that Paul Pogba, they're nailing him for a 60 million offer as well. So this team is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. And there's an obvious reason why they're favoured now over the likes of even Bayern Munich, to lift the Champions League trophy later this season. I think you have to keep, no matter what way you're playing this, I think you have to keep PSG on side here. And actually, the way in I like the most is the win to nil market against Troyes on Saturday. PSG have won 7 straight against Troyes in the most recent head-to-heads. 5 of those 7 came with clean sheets as well. And PSG's defensive record was pretty good to cap off last season. The Parisians allowed just 0.76 expected goals against from March 1st onwards last season on the road. And I'm just not sure if I can see Troy scoring here. If PSG come out and play that possession type game, they're kind of famous for. PSG were the highest possession-based team in the league last year. They had over 60% on the year. Crazy numbers. They also averaged almost 5% more possession on the road last season than their nearest rivals, the mighty Rennes. We all know how I love talking about Rennes. But if they get a stranglehold on this game early, it's likely going to be very difficult for Troyes to get the ball, and create any chances in this game. The main thing, obviously, is for all the positives about PSG, Pochettino needs to get a win here. That's full stop, period. They opened the season 0-2 last year. That mounted a ton of pressure then on Tuchel to get results, effectively getting them ousted then. And Pochettino's already lost the trophy des Champions last week to Lille. So, the obvious downside to having all this money and all this talent at your disposal is, people, fans, board members, media and so on. They're not going to wait around and give you a grace period to generate success. So he needs a win here, full stop. And it's got to look, pretty convincing as well. So, yeah, I expect a strong PSG to show up on Saturday, and the win to nil is my preferred market here, going off at around even money.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention that, Kevin. That is a great observation as far as that win to nil. It is, in looking up the odds, it is at plus 100, so exactly even money on that. You can turn a team who is, minus 400 and favored by 1 3/4 goals into a proposition where you're getting even money on them winning, and both teams obviously not scoring. That's what the win to nil is here. Pavlos, the only thing I worry about in this, and I'm going to go to you next, is with a lot of the PSG players having played in Copa America, obviously in the Euro Championships, and getting an extended vacation or starting their vacation a little late. These guys that they came back to training, but they may not be up to it first week out. Do you want to lay 2 goals with PSG on the road? They're a very good team, but then you have the League 2 champions playing their first game at home, and it being their obviously season debut in League 1. Maybe play a little better defensively. Do we even see this game get close to this 3-goal total?
First of all, let me start by saying it's pronounced Trois. So Trois, they are the they were excellent at home last season. They only lost one of their matches. They scored in all of them. Of course, that was in League Two. Now I love what PSG have done with this team. I really love it. The problem is that they have some problems at the back. Both Bernat and Dagba, they're probably one of them is going to be the starter at the left back, and they're both injured right now. Sergio Ramos also has a slight injury. There are a couple of players who still have injuries from the last season or off season, and of course, as you mentioned, Carmine, some players that are were given an extended week, like a couple of extra days to rest, and they didn't get they haven't trained properly. So this could be a dangerous match for PSG. One could make a case for picking PSG with -1 and 3/4 goals. I also like the under 3 goals here. I mean, PSG last season on the road, they kept a lot of clean sheets. They conceded. I think it was they kept the second most clean sheets last season. So their defense got even better. The addition of Donnarumma was kind of odd in my perspective because Keylor Navas was already doing a very good job. But anyway, I think their defense is going to be even better this season. I don't think that all these players had the time to gel for now. So I'm gonna bypass. I'm just gonna watch this match on TV. If anything, maybe I would take the under 3 goals here. Maybe we'll see a very Trois. They are looking to make a good entrance in the League One, while PSG will also look to start with a win and a confident win too. So I kind of like the under 3 here, and not so much PSG with -1 and 3/4 goals. I don't like it that much. Maybe they could win by 2-0 or 1-3 or something. But I like the under 3 here.
Yeah, and we mentioned about players getting rest after the Euro Championships and Copa America, and you look at the France Super Cup last weekend. Neymar obviously missing, Mbappe missing, so it not even getting a game there under their belts. These guys are world-class athletes, but again, do they play a full full 90 minutes in this game, or it's something you have to look at? I think you have to take stock on. Nick, I'm going to give you the final word on this game. The League Two champions, they are. I'm going to throw this out for you, Nick. Can they pull off I know it's almost impossible, the League Two to League One double championship win? If you're a brave man, they are 1,500 to 1 to win League One this year.
Well, now that Pavlos has told me how to pronounce it, I'll never forget it because Menage a Trois seems like an easy way to remember it. So thank you, Pavlos, for that. What I'm not sure of here is, I don't know if it's the media playing this up or whatever, but a lot of reports I've seen coming about Neymar. We had the extended vacation. Verratti's actually out there with them. They're back on training now. But that PSG wasn't very happy with the pictures that surfaces. He looked a little out of shape, if you will. But like you said, Carm, these are professional athletes. But at the same time, Neymar does have a history of kind of, going a little too hard. Staying a little bit too far away from the soccer field and soccer mind. So I would be surprised here if he's not really ready to go for this game. I don't even know if he's actually expected to play or not. You go to the game against Lille, the Super Cup. I mean, he wasn't there. Verratti wasn't there. Mbappe wasn't there. But there's no worry about Mbappe here. The other thing I'm a little concerned with is, like Chelsea last year, you talked about all the players they added on, and yeah, they're going to be a team to reckon with come the end of the season. But where will they be at the beginning of the season? It takes a little while to get these players familiar with one another, and what exactly Pochettino's got a tough job. How does he line these guys up? Who starts? Who comes in? Who's going to line up? Where exactly with each other? And how's he going to get these guys to play well? I don't like him as a manager to start with. He proved he couldn't win at Tottenham. Then he comes to PSG, and not only could he not win the Champions League, which isn't the biggest deal in the world because it's Champions League, the competition's tough. He couldn't even win League One. I mean, so I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't think he's going to be the right guy to get this team to glory, I guess, at the end of the season. And I'll put this out there right now. I have no idea what the market is, but I don't see Pochettino making it to the end of the season. So if there's him to get sacked prop out there somewhere, take it. But anyway, for this game, I'm not comfortable for all those reasons laying the -1.5. I do think they obviously have plenty of talent. They should win this game more often than not. But maybe they're a little slow on the offensive side. I think defensively they'll still be good enough to keep Menage a Trois from scoring. But I don't know. I don't trust them to necessarily put up some goals here. So I like the under 3. I'm thinking we might see a 3.25 pop out if the public starts to look at this and not really know what the hell's going on and just see PSG, a bunch of new players. Trois, a promoted side sucks. Maybe they'll start betting the over and we can see a 3.25 pop out. But for right now, under 3 seems like the way to play this one.
That's Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. Listen, it's the kickoff of the new Euro season. Nick has his thoughts on Pochettino. It would be remiss if I didn't give the final word to Kevin Dolan here on this one. Kev?
I don't know what Nick's been smoking. I was shaking my head through that whole chat because, Pochettino, he brings Tottenham to a Champions League final. Tottenham. And like he inherited PSG 3rd place. He wins 12 of the last 16 games. I don't know what classifies as success in Nick's household because it must be pretty high.
All right. There you go, guys. League One, 3 games covered. So excited about next week. 2 shows next week. We'll cover La Liga and Serie A. And then obviously we will get into Bundesliga as well. Don't forget, guys, Nick Borrman has a 5% play up at WagerTalk.com. And as the show's featured capper, you can get 50% off his play by using Stop 50. So head over to WagerTalk.com, click on his capper page. You'll find the play there. The coupon code is Stop 50, and you'll get 50% off that play. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, and we will see you again Tuesday, 10 a.m. Good luck with your wagers, guys.
The NFL 2021 season kicks off on Thursday, August 5th. And while some say I won't bet the preseason, but many NFL handicapping experts say there's more value betting the preseason than any other sport. This is one of the only times in sports betting that you can have a team and a coach trying to win versus a team and a coach that doesn't care. The NFL preseason is $249. You can save $70 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game August 5th. The entire NFL preseason for just $179. Yes, football is back.